Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Advocacy Angle, the NGCOA Advocacy Angle, I should say, presented by the NGCOA Champion Circle. I'm your host, Michael Williams, along with Ronnie Miles, the senior, it's a great title, the Senior Director of Advocacy for NGCOA. Ronnie, how are you, my friend?
I'm very good, Mike. How are you? How's it been since our last visit?
Well, it's been great. It's been hot. We're in the
It has
dog
been here.
days.
It's kind of
We're
cooled
in
down now, thank goodness.
we're in the dog days for sure in South Carolina and here in Washington, D.C. But those are actually very good days for golf. A lot of people playing. I did get a chance to go to Ireland for just over a week. You'll see on my podcast, the 19th hole, you'll see some of the uh, uh, holes that we played, and you'll see you get to talk to Alison Metcalf, who's the head of Irish tourism. It was a great trip, and it wasn't as hot there. So I'm glad to be
Uh,
back home in the
I'm
middle of the heat.
glad you went and glad you enjoyed it, and I look forward to seeing some of the clips.
Roger that. You will see it. So let's get right to it, my friend. In the news right now, in our advocacy news, the one big thing is the one big beautiful bill that was
Well, yeah,
passed.
Michael, before we get to that advocacy update on the one beautiful big beautiful bill, shall I say, I'd like to say congratulations to you to be selected to serve on the board of directors for the for the Audubon National Organization. And I think that's a great tribute and honor. I'm sure your accolades that it talked about was very good, and I was impressed with that. But the Audubon, a lot of our golf course owners and operators, we do have a number of them who are certified through the Audubon organization. Is this something we're seeing more of in the industry?
Well, first, I want to say thank you very much for mentioning that, Ronnie. It's really a great thrill and an honor to be involved with an organization as accomplished as Audubon International. We have, as I say we, presumptuously, Audubon International has done great work in providing golf courses with a way to stay in touch with where they naturally come from, which is their natural surroundings, and to really enhance those not only for the sake of the land, but for the sake of the golfer as well. So to be able to do that from the position of the board of directors is something very new to me, but I really look forward to the challenge. I helped the three golf courses in Washington, D.C. get their Audubon uh, certification some 15 years ago. And it was great work and a great honor. And I look forward to seeing where I can contribute in this new role.
Yeah, that's great. And I hope that we'll see more and more of our golf courses become members of the Audubon organization. So again, thank you and congratulations on that. But yes, going back to the federal government's reconciliation bill, they titled it the One Big Beautiful Bill that was passed in July. And it did for the golf course industry. There are a number of benefits in it, and any tax bill, fortunately, was in the owners, operators, and the in employees' favor. There's a number of issues in there that will impact our industry, and starting first off, the biggest one was all the tax incentives and tax programs we had already in place from the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act was extended, and those were made permanent, which is good. That lowers the interest rate, keep the tax rates down, allows businesses to accelerate depreciation if they choose to. So there's a number of good benefits in there that will benefit our owners and operators. Some of the others that were in there this year was they have increased for those golf courses that use private contractors, instructors, or teachers. They've in the past that if it made $600, they had to file a 1099 on that person. So they did increase that to 2,000. So I think hopefully some of our summer programs that bring in contractors to do intermittent work, it will be less burden. If they make less than $2,000 now instead of 600, they do not have to file a 1099. So that's a good news on that one. And of course, for the employees, the tax relief for the tipped employees, the tipped hourly tipped employees, having to be not paying taxes on tips. Again, that's a good incentive for those employees, and I think for our it'll all help our operators because their employees will keep more money in their pocket. So that's a good thing for our industry because it's good for the employees. In addition to that, for the overtime pay for those operators who do have employees to place in overtime pay status, that overtime pay that they're going to see is up to $25,000 is non-taxable. So again, that's another benefit for the employees. But from the operator, from the business side, from our customers, there's a couple of incentives in there that are good too. And one is the for our seniors, they'll get for seniors will get a $6,000 personal deduction. For couples, if they're both qualify for that deduction, will be $12,000 that they will see in their tax bill will go down, which means they're not paying the tax on it. It stays in their pocket. So again, that's income that they will have available for other things, and such as golf. So hopefully they'll be able to spend more money on the golf course. And then we have another one it's a new one. The bill was originally called the Freedom to Invest in Tomorrow's Workforce Act. And what this bill did and does, because it passed as part of the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, and that provides for individuals who have 529 education savings accounts. They can now use those accounts for certification to maintain their certifications for their degrees, or for work. Again, we're still waiting for the final guidance to come out, whether or not for those who are PGA professionals to remain certified within the PGA program, for superintendents to be certified. We are hopeful that those programs would qualify for this, so the individual who are participating in the certification with the PGA or the GCSA, that they will be able to use their 529 accounts to help pay for those. So there's a number of things that in that bill that we believe will have an impact on our industry. Obviously, the bill in itself does something challenging for the industry too. It does increase the deficit. So we're looking, possibly calling for maybe $4 trillion increase in the deficit. So we'll have to see what impact that has on our owners and operators, their ability to access money. Is the competition for that going to be challenged because the federal government's the debt load or the interest rate goes up? So we have to see where that goes in the future. But in the short run, this tax package is a benefit for our owners, operators, and their employees. Whether or not in the long run, we'll still wait to see what it does to the interest rates and access to capital. So more to come on that one, Michael.
No to that. And you just did a very good job, maybe the best I've ever heard, of breaking down what is a very large and complex piece of legislation. I won't get into it too much because we would need about a week here. We've got about 2 minutes. But I will ask you the question, with this bill passed, is there other legislation? What would you see as the next big piece of legislation out there that's yet to be passed, that is on the table, that affects the golf industry?
Well, right now, obviously, the 2026 appropriation bill is the biggest thing we're watching to see how it shakes out and what's in that bill. One big thing that we're hoping for, we get some improvement in our H-2B program, the non-immigrant visa program, which so many of our golf courses and clubs and resorts rely on H-2B workers. So we're hopeful that the 2026 bill will provide some relief in the form of additional visas, and or what we call relief for the returning workers are exempted from the cap that's issued every year by the Department of Labor, a number of visas allowed. Right now, the industry has 64,000 visas available for H-2B workers throughout the United States. Obviously, that is woefully under the requirements. And that is why ever since I can recall, they've always had a supplemental appropriations for additional visas that come in, and many times those have been around 40, 50,000 additional visas. So the industry's been using on and off well over 100,000 through a year. So if we are able to have success in getting the the what we call our returning workers approved as visas, permanent visas, they would not count against the cap. So again, that gives employers a little bit more. They know what they're going to have year to year. They don't have to bet their guess at how many am I going to get next year. They will have that number. It will be in the law and will be set in place. And as long as they follow the rules and regulations for administering the program, delivering the program, then they can count on the same number of visas the next year. If they have a requirement to get additional visas, that goes against the cap. That 65,000, 66,000 visas that we're talking about, we right now issued annually in the Appropriations Bill. So this is a big issue that we're following. It'll be part of the 2026 Appropriations Act.
Well, that is again a great summary and overall compilation of what we have going on in the golf industry. I will say that it is a red hot version of what's going on. And that's just the start of the show. We have much more to come. We have really one of the, I think one of the most heartwarming parts of the game is that it's available to everyone. And our next guest is somebody who really makes that game of our game available to everyone. We'll be right back with Dave Barton. Stay with us, Advocacy Angle. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the NGCOA Advocacy Angle. I'm your host, Michael Williams, along with Ronnie Miles of the NGCOA. One of the most beautiful things about golf is that everyone can play, and I mean literally everyone. The game has been so welcoming, especially in recent years, and making both rules and technology so open to all the game. It's a wonderful thing to see. And that has to do with the policies on and off the course. Joining us now, is somebody who knows more about that than almost anyone. He is the Executive Director of the National Alliance for Accessible Golf. Please welcome my longtime friend, Dave Barton. Dave, welcome to Advocacy Angle. How are you, my friend?
I'm great, and great to see both of you two gentlemen again. It never gets old.
It never gets old. We do, but that never gets old. I see you have a lot of flags back there. One of them, I have to say, is an NGCOA back there, NGCOA flag tucked in back there, because before you were involved with accessibility for golf, you were a longtime employee of the National Golf Course Owners Association.
I was. I when I moved down to Charleston from Northern Virginia, I had the real pleasure and also super educational experience of going to work for Jay Cairn, and that's where I met Ronnie, and that was before and during and slightly after COVID. So it was some
Yep.
interesting times, of course, to be at my first association experience, and so I was quite educational and very professionally rewarding.
Outstanding. Without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to the man who really knows all the good questions on these issues, Ronnie Miles. Ronnie, take it away, my friend.
Thanks, Michael. Hello, Dave. How are you, man?
Well, I'm good, Ronnie. I know you and I get to talk a little bit, and
Yeah,
I'll just lead with we certainly appreciate your continued participation on our board of directors, and the NGCOA support of what we do has always been great, and we're
it was
thankful for it.
when I first started with our organization, and I became a board member for the alliance. It was eye-opening for me, and ever since my opportunity to serve on the board, I've learned a lot about this industry and what we are or are not doing for our golfers. And so I think the work of the alliance is tremendous. With that being said, for those of our listeners who may not be familiar with the National Alliance, would you give us a little bit of a kind of a quick summary of who the Alliance is and what is it we do?
Sure. We were established in 2001 after some mid-90s working groups got together when the golf industry, academia, and healthcare realized that the ADA did not address the golf course. It addressed the buildings on the golf course, but not access to use the golf course. Same thing went for playgrounds, campgrounds, and stuff like that. So we were established in 2001 to really serve as a golf industry advocacy, education, and resource center. And that's what we continue to do to this day through the tools that we provide to help, educate owners, operators, leadership, and staff on the ADA and how to understand it and simply create more welcoming and inclusive environments for individuals with disabilities to get them in the game.
Yeah, navigating the ADA is sometimes confusing. A lot of misinformation gets out there. So I know I get a lot of calls, and many of those calls I refer to you to
Mhm.
help them walk through the proper channels to understand the regulations. And I appreciate your work in that front. One of the things that you have done since you've been with the Alliance is really um, improve the website. There's a lot of benefits and features on the website, not only for golf course operators, but also golfers themselves. One of those features that we have on the map is locations where golf courses have signed up to say, we welcome those with disabilities. You want to tell us a little bit about the map that we have on the page?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got a database, and all of these assets we'll talk about today are freely accessible and available to anybody who wants to use them. That's something we pride ourselves on right now. The real purpose of the adaptive golf car programs and facilities database is to simply provide another avenue for folks that are looking for information about where they can find an adaptive golf car to use, what golf course might have them, or what instructional programs might be out there. I think, the internet has come a long way since we saw it get invented for the most part. And, it's a push system these days. You just can't wait for people to come show up to your site. You've got to let people know what you've got, and people search more than one place. And so, we get a lot of inquiries and phone calls from states all over the country where we know there's a lot of great stuff going on there, but perhaps that individual doesn't know there's a golf course 5 miles away from them that has this capability. And so, to us, to serve as a national kind of center to help get this information out there for these properties is really why that platform exists.
So if a golf course has golf carts, the single rider carts available, or they have golf instructors who specialize in delivering training and education and instruction to those with disabilities, how do they get their name on the map? How do they get added to our map?
Yep, absolutely. Well, you have to leave. We got to go to our website. So you go to accessgolf.org, and it's really easy to see a big button at the top of the screen that says database or listings. And you just click on that, and it's probably takes less than 5 minutes to enter whether you have adaptive golf cars at your facility or if you have instructional programming. And I think that's just the real important part of that is, again, just to again give people another place to see where these assets are. And I think the more information that's out there uh, in places beyond your website that is certainly seen locally and regionally, people travel. And individuals with disabilities, they research where they're going to play golf. No different than if they need a hotel with extra accommodations. They're going to want to find out if a golf course has the assets or the access they need to play the game. And so that's the big purpose of that database, help them find those places.
Yeah, I know a lot of golf courses think, signing up, that means that they may think, okay, well, I'm not sure if my golf course is ADA certified. Should I put my name on that list? Um, is how does one get certified? There's not a real true certification program in place in this U.S. So, what steps should one take if they want to self-assess themselves?
Yeah, that's a great question because I think there is a fear. I've operated properties before, as you know, in my past, and I think, what information do you need to share with the public, et cetera. And, as far as the database goes, that's just a listing of whether you have a golf cart or a program. There's no certification or no admitting what you do or do not do well at your golf course whatsoever. But if you're saying you've got an instructional program and an adaptive golf cart, it's certainly going to send a message to adaptive golfers that they're a place that you probably want to check out. When it comes to certifications, as folks very informed in the golf industry, there's a lot of regulations and things in place for any business, but in the golf industry, especially, uh, whether it's water, chemicals, you name it, there's so many things operators have to pay attention to. So, there's no certification process that I'm aware of that says, hey, your facility is accessible or not. The ADA speaks for itself. And so what we've done is we've taken those parts of the ADA that talk about what makes a golf course accessible It's a 7-page checklist, and we've taken that information and put that into an education platform to simplify it for owners and operators to just know these are the steps you need to take to move towards accessibility. So we offer a self-assessment process that a property leader can do. And really what it does is it just shows them the path to move towards these environments that welcome golfers that might need more access without it being judgmental or a certification or requiring repeat visits to make sure they're still complying, because that's a different animal to take on that task.
Good, true. Another feature that we have that you have really restarted, because it was in place for many years and it kind of died down, but you have a resurgence of it, and that is the program called Gain. Can you tell us a little bit about Gain?
Absolutely. When I got here and I was doing my research on the ADA in this organization, there was a lot to process. And Gain was kind of sitting out there as a tool that the Alliance had originally gone down, I think, in the areas of standardizing, providing education resources for instructional programs and just to create a kind of a cross-country standardization for certain sort of things. And that's a big fish to fry, quite honestly, in the United States, with a number of moving parts, a number of different types of golf courses. So Gain was kind of sitting there, and I saw that as an opportunity. And what we've done with Gain now is created the Golf Access and Inclusion Network, therefore the acronym. As most Navy guys know, we love acronyms. And so what Gain is really just a adaptive golf community networking platform. And when I'm asked, who's in the community, listen, everyone's welcome to come to Gain. And what we have on there are golfers who are looking for guidance. We have professionals who are providing guidance on where to get instruction. We have folks asking about where adaptive golf cars are, but it's a place for golfers, family, friends looking for information to how to maybe get their friends or loved ones into the game, young or old, veterans or non-veterans, whatever. And so it provides a place where people know they can go. They know someone's going to answer their inquiry pretty quickly. And it also involves a whole bunch of industry experts around the country who've been teaching adaptive golf and working in the adaptive golf space for a long time, providing answers to some of these questions and steering people the right direction where they need to go to get started or to get involved.
And how does one sign up to access Gain?
Well, pretty simple. You go to our website and there's a big nav bar there. You have to say go to our website. I don't know how you avoid saying go to our website at some point in life these days, but you go to our website and there's a nav bar that basically says Gain, and if you can find that, you basically just click on it, and the price of admission is a username and password. And I will say that if you do that, you're going to get a monthly magazine from us, but we don't blow your inbox out of the water because you're on our list. We like to keep our stuff short, sweet, and informative, and but pretty simple to do that. I wish we could do single sign-on for our education hub and Gain, but single sign-on is quite honestly cost prohibitive for a 501c3 such as ourselves.
Yeah. The Speaking of funding, obviously, there's a lot of things that the Alliance is doing. We talked about the website. We talked about the map. We're maintaining the Gain program. All these things to maintain them and to do the things that you're doing with the Alliance requires funding. I know being with NGCOA, we are participating in allied organizations, and you have other allied organizations that are members of the Alliance. But if an individual or another organization wants to become involved and participate and support financially the Alliance, how can they do that?
Well, I think it's first, important for them, and we certainly, like a lot of 501c3s, adaptive golf is a very competitive space. I mean, there's a lot of great organizations around the country doing amazing things. We're a little bit different in that, we're a national organization and we don't run competitions or programs. And so we're able to kind of stay somewhat neutral in our overall view of the adaptive golf community and where we can help. And so that makes it a little bit more of a different challenge for us because we're not necessarily in South Carolina's backyard, even though I live here. We're nationally focused. And so generating against for that requires a little bit more effort, but the support we give from the Allied Golf Association, helps us move the needle. We always welcome individual donors who believe in our mission, and that's who we want to hang out with, is people who believe in what we do. And the search is always on to find those the right partners, because you want people that are involved with you that very much believe in what you're doing. And we're making some progress there. It took us a little while to kind of get our kind of tool belt tightened up a little bit and reestablished, but we've got some great momentum now, and we're having some really good conversations with industry and non-golf industry folks, and that's just what we're looking to do. And if those things work out great, we can just keep on rocking and rolling with some education that no other organization in the golf industry delivers to the golf industry. That's a fact. We do it. And so we're in a good space as far as filling a gap in the golf industry. And I welcome the conversation with anyone, and I'm pretty easy to find, again, either on our website, social media, or wherever.
Yeah, one of the programs that I know that as a board member that we're striving to achieve is getting back to being able to offer grants to programs across the country. So again, for those listening, as we look at the Alliance and look in that support that we receive, when funds become available, we want to make those available to the public for programs taking place across this country. A lot of great programs. I know that there's another program, the World Golf Foundation heads up a grant program, very, very effective, very, very strong. And we applaud them for that effort, and that has really helped the industry quite a bit. So again, if there's anyone out there looking for a place to participate and be a part of change, being part of taking care of all of our golfers in this space and those with disabilities, the Alliance, I would strongly encourage them to take a look at the website and look at all the things that's going on out there, and get engaged and be a part of it. But again, a lot of great work going in your office, Dave. Office of one, may I say, I believe. So again, congratulations on the work that you're doing for us and there at the Alliance. Michael, you have any questions?
Yeah, first I want to second that congratulations on the great work that you've done, Dave. And second, I want to say that our word for the day is check our website. For the sake of our viewers, I want to just get an idea of the size of the community. When we talk about accessible golfers, how many people are we talking about?
Oh my goodness, it's such a good question, Michael, because there really has not been any significant research in this space since 2018. The last research for golfers with disabilities was the National Golf Foundation did a study in 2018, and I believe the number was roughly a potential pool of 6 million or so, golfers. It's hard to quantify that, so there's not a good answer for it. I mean, it's certainly in the thousands and thousands of golfers for sure. Because if you simply look at programs like PGA Hope, which is a fantastic program for veterans, they've got a lot of people in that program. They've got a lot of folks on the waiting list right now. I mean, it's just a very subscribed program, and just the sheer number of different organizations around the country, whether it's the Middle Atlantic Blind Golf Association or whether it's the National Amputee Golf Association, who are serving a lot of people, the United States Adaptive Golf Alliance, there's no shortage of golfers with disabilities that are already playing golf, and the operators may not even know they're there because they've got non-apparent disabilities. You may not see it. They might have a pair of pants over their prosthetic leg or something like that. But there's plenty out there to go after. And I think, as Ronnie knows, and we all know on this call, the health and wellness benefits of the game are very far reaching. And that's what I really love about what we do is I love veterans programs, but we have the opportunity to help advocate for anyone with a disability, regardless of age, regardless of background. And I know I don't know the number. I wish I did, but there's a whole lot of kids out there right now that are getting prosthetic legs and arms because the technology's so much better now. And I just don't believe a lot of them know what's possible yet. And
Hmm.
so we've got to help show them what's possible. So I wish I could give you a number, and we would love to talk about a research effort with anyone that wants to talk with us about that at some point, because that's definitely something that I think we need to catch up on, because demand is growing for sure.
Right. Well, from your lips to God's ears, as we say, let's try to get those numbers up to date. Last question I just want to ask you is, I know that no less an organization than the USGA now has an adaptive open. I believe you attended this year. Give us a brief synopsis of that event and what it was like to be there.
Yeah, the USGA, of course, have been longtime supporters of ours and the very involved in our grant program previously, which was greatly appreciated. And they've been kind enough to stay connected with us. They use us as a resource. I get referred from them all the time to answer some questions. But yeah, the Adaptive Open, this was the fourth Adaptive Open, and it was at Woodmont Country Club in Rockville, Maryland, which the fifth one will be at next year in Rockville as well. So to your listeners, if you can make it to Rockville, you got to go check out the Adaptive Open. It's just a phenomenal event. And the Woodmont staff, operationally and superintendent, it was phenomenal. The courses, of course, a fantastic course, but from a spectator viewing perspective as well, it was phenomenal to just watch some really good golf. And as a matter of fact, this year on the men's side, there was a 59 watching round one. The kid that ended up winning the tournament made the turn at 29 from 6,400 yards. And so there's some legit golf going on out there, no doubt about that. But just unbelievable course, unbelievable facility. It's a private club, so it's the first Adaptive Open that was held at a private club. And as some folks may or may not know, private clubs technically don't fall under the guidance of the ADA unless they do certain things. But private clubs have members and guests that have disabilities as well, so it's still something they should be paying attention to, regardless of what the law says. And I can tell you, Woodmont Country Club put on a show, and it was a phenomenal event. And after next year, it's going to be in Oregon for at Sun River Resort for a couple years. So if you don't like to travel far and you're on the East Coast, you better catch it at Woodmont next year. You're going to be taking a trip out to Oregon.
Well, it's right here in my area. I'm so sorry that I was actually in Ireland while you were playing here, but I understand it was a wonderful event. And we appreciate all that you do to make that event and all the things that you do for adaptive golf so available and so accommodating. Dave, thank you so much for taking the time, and we can't wait to have you back on.
Thanks, Dave. I appreciate it.
Well, thank y'all very much. And definitely wasn't playing at the Adaptive Open. I do not qualify for that. And plus I would lose badly against most of the golfers in that field. So thank y'all for the time, and I look forward to speaking with you again soon.
Roger that. Thank you, Dave. And that's just about it for this edition of the Advocacy Alliance. I want to thank our guest, Dave Barton. We hope to see you next time for another edition of it. Until then, I'm Michael Williams, Ronnie Miles. Ronnie, thanks so much to you.
Thanks,
And
Michael.
yeah, we'll see you soon.